Ladies and gentlemen, there was a time when the graveyard on the edge of the forgotten village was just an abandoned patch of land, where no one dared to go after sunset. It was not marked on maps, nor did locals speak of it openly. They only referred to it in whispers so mean, as if uttering its true name might summon the evil that lay dormant there. But hidden deep within that decaying graveyard, half buried beneath twisted roots and crumbling tombstones, was something that should have never been found, a doll. At first glance, the doll looked like something a child might have loved. Made of old cloth, its faded eyes were two buttons, stitched too tightly into its worn face. Its smile was crooked, not from design, but from decay. The doll's dress was black, and not from color, but from years of dirt, mold, and perhaps something darker. It reeked of age, of damp soil, and of something else, a broken bar, something unnatural. Those who laid eyes on it said there was a strange pull, like it wanted to be held. It called out, and not with a voice, but with a presence. The villagers say it wasn't always there. Some claim it appeared overnight after a violent storm that shattered trees and knocked over gravestones. Others insist they saw an old woman of the which no one believed was Rella wandering into the graveyard just days before the doll was discovered, carrying a bundle wrapped in red cloth and chanting words that made the wind itself stop. Whatever the truth was, the result was the same. The doll was there now, and everything changed after its arrival. Children in the village began waking up screaming in the middle of the night, claiming to see a girl standing outside their windows, holding the doll, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Livestock died without wounds, eyes wide open in terror. The air around the village turned heavy, as if soaked in fear. And every night, no matter how still the world became, a faint giggle would drift through the wind, the sweet and childlike, yet wrong in a way no one could explain. Then came the disappearances. It started with Rafik, a young man who dared his friends to enter the graveyard at midnight. He laughed at the stories, mocked the old traditions. He was the first to touch the doll. They say he lifted it from the ground and turned pale instantly. His smile faded. He said nothing, just stared at it as if it had whispered something only he could hear. He didn't return home that night. His friends found him the next morning, sitting against the tombstone, eyes wide, lips stitched together with the thread from the doll's torn dress. Rafik never spoke again. He never moved, never blinked. He was alive, but something inside him was gone. Doctors came from the city, priests came with holy water, but no one could undo what had been done. They took him away, and the doll was left in the graveyard once again, placed carefully where it had been found. But that wasn't the end. Next was a school teacher, a kind woman named Selma. She had heard the stories, dismissed them as superstition, but after Rafik's condition, she grew curious. She wanted to see the doll for herself. She didn't believe in black magic. She didn't believe in jinns. She walked into the graveyard during the day, when the sun was highest. Armed with logic and reason, she too picked up the doll. The villagers found her home empty that evening, her door wide open. On her bed, carefully laid out, was the doll, its head turned slightly, now with what looked like fresh blood on its stitched lips. Selma was never found. Her belongings were still in place. No sign of struggle, no signs of departure. She had simply a broken bar vanished. The elders of the village gathered and told the old stories again, as stories that had been buried just like that doll. They spoke of a girl who had once lived there, many decades ago, born under a cursed star. Her mother, accused of dark magic, was burned alive by the villagers after a series of unnatural deaths. Before she died, the woman screamed a curse into the wind, promising she would return, not through her body but through her daughter's toy, the only thing she had left behind, a doll, black-clad, hand-sewn, made with the woman's own hair. The child disappeared the same night her mother died. Some say she drowned herself in the village well. Others believed she was taken by a jinn who served her mother. Either way, no one saw her again. But the doll, according to legend, remained, buried with her bones somewhere in the outskirts of the village, until disturbed. Now, with its return, the evil had awakened. The doll was no longer just cloth and string. It had become a vessel for pain, for rage, for something not meant to exist in this world. Those who dared touch it became marked, either consumed by madness, cursed into silence, or erased from existence altogether. Stranger still were the dreams. Many villagers began dreaming of a little girl in a black dress, standing at the edge of their beds, holding the doll. In the dreams, she never spoke, she just stared. But when the dream ended, small things changed. The mirrors cracked without reason, animals refused to enter the house, photographs distorted. Something from the dream followed them back. Some tried to destroy the doll. A few brave souls took it, drenched it in oil, and set it aflame. But the fire never touched it. It refused to burn. Others tried burying it in salt, chaining it in locked chests, even throwing it in the river, but every time, it returned. Not always where it had been, but always somewhere in the graveyard, waiting. Watching. More and more people left the village. Houses were abandoned. Businesses closed. The postman refused to deliver mail past the bridge. Eventually, only the elders and the two poor to leave remained. But even they stopped walking past the graveyard, even in daylight. Now, no one touches the doll. No one speaks its name, but its presence is still felt. Cold winds pass through closed windows. Footsteps echo on empty floors. The doll still lies in that cursed soil, sometimes half buried, sometimes standing upright as if placed by unseen hands. But always a broken bar, always facing the village. And still, every now and then, a visitor will come. A stranger, unaware of the tales, drawn by the mystery, the rumors, the thrill. And sometimes, if they are brave or foolish enough to pick up the doll or broken bar. Let me know if you'd like the rest of the story, or want it formatted for YouTube narration.